The psalmist says this, how good and pleasant it is when brothers live together in unity. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Acts chapter 2 will be the basis for the next several lessons that we're going to look at, because the early church, they got a hold of this community thing. And I'm telling you, it rocked the world. And it still does to this day where it is found. Church is the hope of the world when the church is doing what the church should be doing. They talk about the church, the bride of Christ. Well, I tell you, it depends which one you're looking at. If you're looking at the one that is the way it's supposed to be, man, she is a Rachel. You know, the Old Testament talk about Rachel? She's a knockout. That's Old Testament language. And that's how she was. She's just gorgeous. But too often we see the bride of Christ over here. She looked like she'd gone 15 rounds with Mike Tyson. Right? She's all bruised and bloody and knocked up, not knocked up, sorry guys. Knocked out. Oh, brother, it could be knocked up, who knows? I mean, she's a wreck. She's messed up. And too often people are looking, it's like, I want to marry that babe? No way, she's knocked up, all right? It's like, no, this is the one we're looking at, And this is the one we want to be, and we can be. We can be this. All right? Let's go to Acts chapter 2. Get me talking about something else. All right? Acts chapter 2. And look at this beautiful picture that they had. And this is our goal. This is our standard. This is what we're shooting for. Luke records it. He says, who are they? These are the disciples. Men and women like you and me. Kids, everybody. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe. I love that. I can't wait till we get to more to that. Everyone was filled with awe, and many wonders and miraculous signs were done by the apostles. And I'm telling you, when we're being the bride of Christ, it's awesome. And wonders and miraculous things spring out of that. All the believers were together. I want to focus on that part today, so stay with that. All the believers were together and had everything in common. Selling their possessions and goods, they gave to anyone as he had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes. They ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And look at this. And the Lord added to their number daily those who are being saved. I know what true community looks like. I'm so thankful that I got an assignment to Germany. At that time, back then, it was West Germany. Now Germany's been united, but back then it was West Germany. And I got a military assignment in Germany. At that time when I had gone over, I had just come off one of my worst alcohol-related incidents and had gotten into really big trouble. And big trouble with my family, big trouble with the military. And so I'm shipped overseas to a place where they're famous for beer. But anyhow, God works in mysterious ways, and He sends me over there. And no doubt it was Him working. And I thought, as I stayed there for about a month and a half by myself, I thought, maybe I'll give this church thing a try, because Vera had already been saved in South Dakota. Maybe we'll give this church thing a try. And so when she got over with me, we went to this church that met in a bar. Again, God's working very interestingly here. And so anyhow, what an interesting thing. It was so different from my church experience in the past. Here was a group of people meeting in they call it a Gasthaus. It's just basically a bar, and they don't drink there on Sunday, so we rented it. And you know what they were doing? These believers here were doing Acts chapter 2. I mean, they got the Bible. I was like, get the Bible? Read it, yeah, study it, see what it says, apply it. I can't even tell you how long it was, at least 2 months. I never on a Sunday ate in my own home. The hospitality, they didn't know me. Well, matter of fact, I take that back because the preacher that was there, who was basically just one of the Air Force guys that had some good Bible training, was preaching. Well, they invited us over to our house, or his house, and for dinner that Sunday, and we went to the BX to get some ice. And it was me and him. And as we're riding, he's driving, he's kind of looking at me, One of those kind of looks like, is this guy like Charles Manson or what? He didn't really know. Well, what he knew of me was what somebody back in the States wrote him about me. Now, see, I didn't know about this all till later. And it's like, watch out for him. He's like Saul of Tarsus. He's out to destroy the church. He won't let his wife come to church. He's a creep. He's a drunk. He's So this guy's riding. He's invited me over to lunch for one thing, and he's riding. He's like, I don't know about this guy, Well, eventually, he's the guy that baptized me. It was pretty neat how God worked with that. But we didn't eat in our own home for, I'm telling you, at least 2 months. They welcomed us in with glad and sincere hearts. I mean, truly, they did. They played together. They did things together. We worked together. And I had been there, and by the way, all that culminated into just drawing me in to learn more about what this Jesus thing is all about. And ultimately, I became a Christian, was baptized in that congregation by that man. And then when I was off on a remote assignment in France, my brother was killed in an automobile accident. Terrible, terrible thing to go through, right? It was absolutely terrible. I can't express to you how terrible it was. And so they had to put me on, I was out on the Atlantic coast in France, and I had to ride a train into Paris, and I had to make a real quick exchange from one station to the next to get back to Germany, to catch a flight, to come back over to Dover, Delaware, to catch another flight to get into Michigan, and so forth. I mean, this is crazy. And I'm absolutely in a fog of grief. And I don't know how I'm going to make this connection in Paris. Now, if you've never been to the train station in Paris, I mean, New York Central, it's crazy. But I'm a part of a family of believers now. I pick up the phone and I call the missionary in Paris that I know. And I say, Don, I'm coming in, this is what's happening, can you help me out? I've got like a 20-minute exchange, and I get there, and Don's there, and he's literally running me to the next train station, and I get right on as the train leaves. And I've never got to see Don again because later on he died of a heart attack. But and then when I get to Germany, back into Germany, the church had taken care of all my family's needs, set everything up, and gotten us ready. Car ride to Frankfurt to get on the airplane. They prayed with us. Now this is back in 1983. They laid $500 in my hand in 1983. A little congregation, military congregation. Took care of us all the way there and back. That's community. That's this bride over here. And when people see that kind of bride, they're drawn to her. They're attracted to her. When people moved in or out of country, we would have people just stay with us, and other people stayed together. When they moved out and they lost their housing, they'd stay with us, and we'd ride them up to the airport, and we were just family. We literally left our door open, and church members come in and out all the time. And when I go to another country, it was Norway. I go to Norway. First thing I do is look up believers because I know their family, Or Lisbon, Portugal. Devoted to teaching. Devoted to it because they're drawn to it. Because there's life. There's the words for life and this fellowship and this worshiping together and praying together and working together and sharing what they had. They loved being together. Sometimes we say, God is good. All the time. All the time. And do we really believe that? Well, I hope we do. But do we mistake it, especially people who are going through hard times? And they believe, maybe God isn't so good. If God is so good, why am I going through all this crap in my life? That's an honest conversation right there. The trouble is, they're missing it. This life is full of junk. Jesus said it from the beginning, in this world you will have trouble.